Good morning. Welcome to the Florida Atlantic University College of Business 20th Annual Business Leader of the Year Awards Breakfast, where this morning the College of Business will be honoring accomplishments of Mike Jackson, Chairman and CEO of AutoNation. We would like to begin today's program with the national anthem sung by Ann Fenimore Torapainen. Ann recently earned a master's degree in business from FAU. The anthem will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Hayden Trepic, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Initiative at FAU. If I could ask you all please to stand.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Miss Nancy Blosser, immediate past chair of the Florida Atlantic University Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Kimberly. I'd like to begin my remarks by thanking vocalist Ann Fenimore Torapainen and keyboardist Kiki Sanchez, who are bringing the gift of beautiful music to us this morning. Please join me in giving them a well-deserved round of applause. Good morning and welcome to the 20th Annual Business Leader of the Year Breakfast. I'm truly delighted to be with you this morning. Each year, FAU's College of Business honors a member of the business community for his or her professional achievements and impact in their field. This morning's recipient, Mike Jackson, clearly demonstrates all the characteristics of a true business leader. We congratulate Mike for his many accomplishments as an entrepreneur and for his support for our university. It's also my pleasure to recognize the presenting sponsor of this event, Bank Atlantic. Representing Bank Atlantic is Bank Atlantic Advisory Board member and South Florida news legend, Tony Segreto. Tony? We will be hearing from Tony later in this morning's program. I would also like to thank our platinum benefactors, AutoNation, Huizinga Holdings, the Sun Sentinel, Northwestern Mutual Financial Network, the Striano Group, the FAU School of Accounting, and the South Florida Business Journal. In addition, we thank our gold and silver benefactors, as well as many other generous sponsors identified on the screens to my right and left. At this time, I would like to acknowledge excuse me, the FAU Board of Trustees and the FAU Foundation. Please stand and be recognized as your name is called. From our Board of Trustees, our new Vice Chairman, Mr. Anthony Barber. Dr. Jeffrey Feingold. Mr. Aidan Mayer and Mr. Thomas Workman. From the FAU Foundation, we have our Executive Director, Mr. Randy Talbot. Randy's back there.
Mike Kaufman just walked in.
Oh, and I was just told Mike Kaufman is here as well from the foundation, president of our foundation. I would also like to acknowledge the members of the Dean's Executive Council who have joined us this morning. Mr. Arnold Cohen, Mr. Michael Daskell, Mr. Nick D. Tempora, Ms. Kimberly Graham, Mr. Armin Grossman, Mr. Stephen Klingel, Ms. Charlotte Laurent Ottomain, Ms. Pat McKay, Mr. Troy McClellan, Dr. Eugene Miller, Mr. Steve Sponder, Mr. Peter Stein, Ms. Daisy Vanderland, Mr. Steve Zoom Tobel, and finally, Mr. Vigar Veek. We have two special guests from Nova Southeastern University, Chancellor Ray Ferraro and President George Hanberry. And we have a number of dignitaries with us this morning. First of all, Congressman Allen West. Thank you for being here. Senator Ellen Bogdanoff. And the Mayor of Boca Raton, Susan Welchel. Right out there. I hope we haven't missed any other public officials who are here, but if I've missed any, please stand so we can recognize you. Okay, great. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Dean of the College of Business, Dr. J. Dennis Coates. A graduate of Northwest Missouri State University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in finance, Dr. Coates worked in the public sector for several years. At the age of 26, he launched a school transportation business. Soon afterward, he became the franchise distributor for Carpenter School Coaches, serving one of the largest sales territories in the country. He returned to his alma mater in 1982, where he concurrently matriculated in both accounting and MBA studies. After passing the national CPA exam, he entered the doctoral program in accounting at Louisiana State University and was awarded a PhD in 1989. He then accepted a faculty position at FAU. A member of the FAU faculty and administration for the past 21 years, Dr. Coates has been honored with numerous awards for teaching and research. He's been named Accounting Professor of the Year several times and received the university's Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching Award. His scholarly research in the area of financial reporting and accounting for small businesses has garnered Dr. Coates additional academic recognition. Prior to his appointment as dean, Dr. Coates was the Senior Associate Dean for Operations and Administration. This February will mark Dr. Coates' 5th year at the helm of FAU's College of Business, one of the largest business schools in the United States, with approximately 7,000 students and 130 faculty members. The college is especially well known for its School of Accounting. FAU accounting students are consistently among the top scorers on the national CPA exam. Most recently, 2009 alumnus Jeremy Hurwitz scored in the top 10 of the more than 85,000 students who took the 2009 national CPA exam, and that is truly a remarkable achievement. Other student achievements include David Rich, an accounting student and winner of the 2010 FAU Business Plan Competition, who has raised $450,000 in investment funding for his dynamic digital platform business named Off the Quad. Alexander Luft, a management student known by his professor Steve Stewart as a young serial entrepreneur. Alexander started his business in his bedroom, funding a writing team and editor to produce content for his website, www.gmauthority.com, an online destination for fans of General Motors, with over 30,000 page views each month. I believe Alexander is with us today. Would you please stand and be recognized, Alexander? Nope, maybe not. Members of FAU's College of Business faculty have gained national distinction for research in the areas of finance, international business, information systems, and entrepreneurship. One example of our outstanding faculty is Dr. Chandra Mishra, Office Depot eminent scholar, chair and professor, who founded a new scholarly journal, Entrepreneurship Research Journal, which debuted earlier this month and has already distributed worldwide to 41,000 plus subscribers. The new research journal is being positioned as the leading premier research journal within the field of entrepreneurship and is a scholarly exchange between researchers from any field of study who focus on entrepreneurs. We want to congratulate Dr. Mishra on his accomplishment and role as co-editor of the journal. So I've given you a very brief overview of the college and some of our students and faculty, and now it's time to hear more from the Dean of the College of Business, Dr. J. Dennis Coates.
Thank you, Trustee Blosser. I'd actually forgotten some of that stuff. It's very wonderful to be here. This is one of our special events for the university, we believe, and certainly for the College of Business. First, I would like to recognize Assistant Dean and Director of the Adams Center for Entrepreneurship, Kimberly Graham. And also her staff and members and volunteers who have made today's program possible. Would all of those please stand? Over the course of this event's 20-year history, the College of Business has recognized these 20 individuals for their outstanding leadership in business. 4 of our past honorees are here with us today, and I would like for them to stand to be recognized. Mr. Wayne Huizinga. I always say that Wayne is really the Dean of South Florida Business. Mike Maroney. Mike. Keith Koenig. And Alan Leban. In determining the winner of this award, the College of Business looks at several facets of leadership. The first is vision, and that is the ability to understand the business environment and to position the company or organization for inevitable change. We also believe that innovation is very important, embracing changes in technology and environmental conditions and harnessing resources to meet the challenge of those. Certainly, knowledge and experience in the field is important. The winner should be well-versed in the fundamentals of his or her business, industry, or organization. Transparency is important. Serving as a role model, a team player, and an overall good boss, sharing the burdens of challenges and the benefits of success with employees and the community. Certainly, social responsibility is important. Recognizing that the firm or organization functions in a broader community and thereby demonstrating a sense of caring and community involvement. We are particularly proud today that Mike represents all of these traits very, very well. This year, for the first time, the college is introducing the Business Leaders Scholars Program. These one-time expendable scholarships will be awarded to students of business at FAU. The students will be asked to demonstrate leadership qualities through service and academic potential by maintaining a 3.25 grade point average or better. This year, the proceeds of this breakfast will fund 44 of our best students who are beginning to demonstrate and exemplify the type of leadership we honor today. Thanks to you all. I hope all of you will continue to partner with FAU and our college, making a difference in the lives of our bright young students so that we might continue making a difference in your community, your business, and the overall economy of Florida. I would like to take a brief moment to also ask the FAU students, faculty, and alumni to stand so that they can be recognized. Thank you. Words cannot express how pleased I am that all of you are part of the FAU family. As Nancy mentioned, our organization is large. We are, I believe the last time I looked, the 6th largest AACSB accredited college of business in the United States. So running that size of an organization requires a lot of help, and I'm very fortunate that I have an outstanding leadership team to help me do that. So I would like to have Paul Hart, Don Diaquino, and Mark Rohr stand. Paul is the Associate Dean for the College of Business. Don is our Assistant Dean for Finance, and Mark is our Assistant Dean for Accreditation. So thanks to all of them, faculty and staff. Please enjoy your breakfast, and our program will continue in about 20 minutes. Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The second part of the program is about to begin. Nancy? All right, thank you, everyone. It's my proud honor to introduce to you Ms. Nancy Blosser.
You know, we always miss people in our introduction, so I kind of want to go backwards before I go forward. I want to tell you that we're delighted to have Dr. David Armstrong, the president of Broward College, with us this morning. David, you're out here somewhere. Thank you for being here. And we also have a new board of trustee member who joined our board this past Wednesday, and that's Paul Tanner. And he is with us. Paul, thank you for being here. It's now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Mary Jane Saunders, the president of Florida Atlantic University. She was unanimously appointed by our Board of Trustees in March, and she assumed her position in June. She is an award-winning cell biology researcher, educator, and academic leader who's committed to enhancing public higher education. Prior to coming to FAU, she was provost and senior vice president for academic affairs at Cleveland State University, where she was also the founding dean of the College of Science, director of Biomedical and Health Institute, and a professor in the Department of Biological, Geological, and Environmental Sciences. A native of Worcester, Massachusetts, Dr. Saunders holds a bachelor's degree in biology from Boston University and both a master's and a PhD in botany from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. We are very, very lucky to have her at the helm of FAU, and it's my great privilege to present her to you now. Dr. Saunders.
Good morning, and thank you for that wonderful introduction, Nancy. I'm pleased to be with all of you this morning to offer my personal congratulations to Mike Jackson, who so richly deserves recognition as the 2010 Business Leader of the Year, and to express Florida Atlantic University's deep appreciation for the ongoing support of the entire South Florida business community. Every great American university is linked in a very fundamental way with the leaders of private enterprise in the local community and beyond those borders. This relationship is critical to the economic health of the region, state, and nation, and must be nurtured in every possible way. FAU has worked hard and will continue to work hard to establish and maintain strong bonds with the business community. And we see many signs of the success of that effort, such as the wonderful turnout of the business leaders gathered here this morning. I'd like to take this opportunity to give you a brief update on the state of your hometown university. This fall, FAU welcomed the largest student body in history, with a total undergraduate and graduate population exceeding 28,000 students. I'm very proud to report to you that FAU continues to have the most richly diverse student body in Florida State University system, with 43% classified as African American, Hispanic, Native American, Pacific Islander, or international. This level of diversity enriches our university community and the greater community beyond measure and makes FAU a model for other universities nationwide. The College of Business continues to be the largest of our 10 colleges, with about 7,000 students, close to 30% of our student body. It's easy to see why students are attracted to the truly outstanding degree programs offered by the college's talented and dedicated faculty under the skilled leadership of Dean Coates. In recent years, the college has earned national accolades, too numerous for me to list in their entirety, but let me give you a sampling. U.S. News and World Report has recently given high recognition to FAU's College of Business by placing it in the top tier of this year's national rankings for best business programs. There's more. Business Week has listed FAU's online MBA as among the best programs of its kind in the South and has ranked our executive education program among the best in the entire country. And for 3 years in a row, the Princeton Review has included FAU's College of Business on its list of the best business schools in America. In addition to offering these and other top quality academic programs, your university has grown into a powerful engine of economic growth in South Florida, generating more than $1.7 billion worth of activity annually in Broward, Palm Beach, and St. Lucie counties, where FAU's 7 campuses and sites are located. And your university is taking place among America's preeminent research universities, as our researchers carry out groundbreaking work in such critically important areas as biomedicine, biotechnology, and the generation of clean, renewable energy from Florida's offshore ocean currents. Why is this information important to you, the business leaders of South Florida? Because universities are creators of knowledge, and knowledge has become the coin of the realm as the economies of the developed world continue to shift away from being product-based toward being information-based. Today, America's institutions of higher learning are playing a bigger role than ever in positioning us competitively in the world marketplace. In a knowledge-based economy, intellectual capital is the primary resource, and is the role of higher education to produce the intellectual capital that equips a community to grow and prosper. If South Florida is to claim its rightful piece of the pie, it is essential for communication and collaboration to take place between the organizations that are providing the career opportunities and the educational institutions that are enabling students to take advantage of these opportunities. I'm delighted to say that such a relationship already exists between FAU and many of the leading businesses in the area. Before I close, I'd like to fill you in on the progress of our 30,000-seat football stadium. This exciting new facility is under construction, and you can watch it take shape via live webcam on www.faustadium.com. Season and premium I say this so often, I can't believe I'm stumbling over it. Season and premium seating tickets are already available and can be purchased on this site. Coach Schnellenberger and the Owls expect to play their first home game there in the fall of this year, and I hope you'll join me cheering for our hometown team. Coach, would you stand to applause? As we wait for football season, I encourage you to come visit our arena and see the FAU Owl basketball team. Currently, we're 8-0, 8-0 in the conference. And Mike Jarvis is a terrific coach, and it's a really exciting team to watch, and I encourage you to come out and see them. Once again, let me say how much I appreciate this opportunity to be with you this morning. The message I would like to leave with you today is that FAU is more committed than ever to being a productive partner of South Florida's vibrant business community, and we're always looking for ways to increase the university's value to you. Thank you very much, and Mike, congratulations to you again.
Our keynote speaker this morning is Tony Segreto, a Bank Atlantic board member and South Florida television news anchor icon. He was an integral member of the NBC6 news team for 40 years, starting as an intern and working his way up to become one of the most trusted newscasters in South Florida. In 1995, he received the prestigious Silver Circle Award from the South Florida chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences for excellence in broadcast journalism. A native South Floridian, Mr. Segreto has a track record that speaks volume about his enthusiasm and commitment to charitable causes. He serves on the board of the Dan Marino Foundation, the Boys and Girls Club of Broward, 211 Broward, the Community Foundation of Broward, Forever Family, and Gilda's Club of South Florida. In addition, he's the spokesperson for Make-A-Wish Foundation and St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Mr. Segreto has been inducted into the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce's Sports Hall of Champions for his lifetime contributions to sports, as well as the Broward County Sports Hall of Fame and the Miami-Dade College Hall of Fame. Mr. Segreto is committed to supporting the mission of the Bank Atlantic Foundation, which was established in 1994 for the purpose of fostering partnerships with others in private sector, nonprofit organizations, and government agencies. The foundation supports a wide array of activities in the arts, education, social welfare, and community and economic development. Since its inception, the foundation has awarded more than $6 million to charitable organizations throughout the state of Florida. Please join me in welcoming Bank Atlantic board member and legendary broadcast journalist, Tony Segreto.
Thank you, Nancy. She just said to me, I didn't tell any of your secrets. Mike Maroney was threatening to tell about our younger days, and thank goodness. Oh, what a pleasure to be here. Mike, I'm glad to be on your tour. This is this has been quite a tour. This is, and it's interesting because you still have many, many years to go. It is an honor, a deep honor and a deep pleasure to be here representing my Bank Atlantic family. I can't tell you, when I left my career as a broadcaster 40 years, I had an idea of some of the things I wanted to do, but never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd land at Bank Atlantic. And I have to tell you, it's one of the finest, if not the finest things I have done. It's an incredible group. We, like Mike Jackson, we're not only committed to giving this community a great banking experience like Mike is with his dealerships. We are committed to this community. You just heard about our foundation and what we do. You know, we're a community bank, and our roots run deep, and we're here to serve the people. Our focus each and every day is about the customer, the customer, the customer. So to be here with you today and to partner with FAU with such a fine program, and for everybody to be up so darn early in the morning, it is wonderful. And I have to mention our chairman, Alan Levan. He's already been recognized, but a past recipient, and he's our leader in our Bank Atlantic family. Jarrett Levan, thank you for everything that you do for me, and certainly thank you everything you do for this community. You know, they asked me to introduce Wayne and Mike and Keith. They've already been introduced, but heck, they're all my friends. Good morning. And I have to say, for those of you, Howard Schnellenberger and I go back to his days with the Miami Dolphins when he was part of that 1972 run. And then I was one of his radio broadcasters at the University of Miami when he led the Hurricanes to their first ever national championship in 1983. And I have to tell you that, and Howard, I know you're not going to mind me letting this secret out, but Howard and I would spend hours in his office at the University of Miami, and he had a rendering there of a stadium that he wanted to have built there. Unfortunately, the hurdles to overcome were just too immense, but he was undaunted. And what great testimony to FAU, your president, and all of the people involved at FAU that his dream can become your dream, and this beautiful 30,000-seat stadium is a reality. So, Howard, congratulations. I know you're going to be selling tickets out there. I was joking at the table, Mike. You know, when you and I are friends, and I decided, what the heck, I'd Google you, and it's funny how much space you share with Thriller. I really never thought about it. You know, it's funny. Mike Jackson, it never occurred to me until I Googled it, and it was like, wow. You know, back in 1999, Wayne Huizinga hired Mike Jackson to lead AutoNation. Wayne has made countless decisions that have been brilliant. But even he will tell you this may have been his finest. It certainly has exceeded all of his expectations. You know, Albert Einstein once said, "Your imagination is your preview to life's coming attractions." So think about that for just a moment. Wayne's vision and imagination matched with Mike Jackson's vision and imagination back in 1999, coming attractions. What we have today is the featured film. AutoNation is the world's largest auto retail dealer. That's something. You know, I've had the pleasure of knowing Mike since he arrived here in South Florida. And for those of you who he's touched, I'm sure you will agree, he's one of the finest human beings you've ever met. He's the total package. He really is. He is a leader with passion, with vision, with enthusiasm, with innovation. He's a veteran in the auto industry with a contemporary approach. I mean, when he was with Mercedes USA, one of the many positions he held was the head of marketing. And this is when Mercedes decided they really wanted to go after the younger demographic. Well, it was Mike's idea to say, hey, why don't we use those great lyrics from a Janis Joplin song. You know, "Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz?" That was Mike's idea. It was used in the campaign. Hugely, hugely successful. You see, when Mike Jackson faces an uphill battle, ladies and gentlemen, all he can think about is the view from the top. His list of accomplishments, you know, I was asked to keep this to 5 minutes. If I listed them all, we'd be here well into the weekend. That stadium might be built, actually. But let me just a few. His sales record is unmatched. Top 50 visionary dealers of all time. A 6-time member of the Automotive News Dream Team. His dedication to over 19,000 employees is unbelievably unmatched. For 6 of the last 7 years, AutoNation has been named America's most admired automotive retailer by Fortune magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of hard work. And while Mike hasn't told me this personally, I believe if you ask him, I don't think he believes that he goes to work every day. That's because he loves what he does so very much. And to illustrate that for just a moment, a few years back, Mike and I were on one of Wayne's golf trips to Ireland. You know, where you play golf all day, and then you know, kind of sing in the pubs at night. Sip tea, you know. Anyway, in the middle of this trip, Mike Jackson was notified that there was a deal that really needed his attention involving AutoNation. Now, mind you, I don't think he'd been on the job very long. So he conferred with Wayne. They spoke about it, and without fanfare, Mike slipped out, got on a plane, flew to his destination. If I'm not mistaken, it was London. He went and did the deal, and within 24 hours, came back, slid into the chair next to me at the pub, and picked up the lyrics of "Oh, Danny Boy" right where he left off. Now, that's the true story. It's a true story. And that's what makes him so successful. You see, what makes the difference between someone who's successful and others is not a lack of knowledge and not a lack of strength, it's a lack of will. Mike Jackson's will is unmatched. You know, he started his career as a mechanic. I don't think many people understand that. He owned a Mercedes. It needed repairs, right, Mike? You go to the Mercedes dealership, they tell you the cost, and you go, I can't afford that. So he asked the dealership for a job. They give him one. He becomes a mechanic, pays for the repairs, ultimately buys the dealership. But that tells you what Mike Jackson is about. And in fact, to this day, when Mike visits his AutoNation dealerships around the country, which he does quite often, the first place he visits is the parts and service department, because that's where his roots are. When you speak to people about Mike Jackson, whether you work for Mike or work with him, they will tell you to a person, he is the best communicator they have ever been around. You see, it's been said, think like a wise man, but communicate in the language of the people. And that's what Mike Jackson does. He's able to take complex issues and break them down into understandable terms, and he's been known to use props at times. I mean, he's used a rocket ship, he's used a sword and the stone, he's used a donut, he's even used cartoons like Dracula. This is what Mike Jackson is about. And his resume wouldn't be complete unless, ladies and gentlemen, you talked about his community outreach. Mike proudly says, you know, I'm a boy from Philly who's adopted Fort Lauderdale as his home. And boy, oh boy, has he ever. Among his philanthropic and civic interests, Museum of Art of Fort Lauderdale, where he's the chair. And this is a passion for Mike. In fact, he was the key component to brokering a deal to partner with Nova Southeastern University, a partnership that really is flourishing, and it's all, ladies and gentlemen, because of Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson is the consummate leader. He believes that a group of collective minds is much more effective than just one. That's why every major decision made at AutoNation is made by Mike Jackson and his executive committee. To quote the late Vince Lombardi, leaders are made, they are not born. They are made by hard effort, which is the price which all of us must pay to achieve any goal worthwhile. That is Mike Jackson, a man who practices a life of passion where what you want to do is one with what you do. Mike, congratulations. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please address your attention to the video screens. We have a short video with more on Mike Jackson.
Florida Atlantic University's Business Leader of the Year Award celebrates the accomplishments of business leaders and their ongoing legacy in improving the business environment. Mike Jackson, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of AutoNation, exhibits all the traits which measure effective leadership in business, including vision, innovation, and change, knowledge and experience, transparency and integrity, and social responsibility. AutoNation is the country's largest automotive retailer, selling over 400,000 units each year and servicing over 5 million vehicles. Even during the economic recession, AutoNation, under Mike Jackson's leadership, managed to post solid financial results. This is just one reason he's a frequent contributor and advisor, both for our government and on the airwaves.
Anyone who knows Mike or has seen him on the show knows he's a leader who's going to speak his mind. Not all CEOs are willing to be vocal when they're in an active role, especially in a public company. Mike, though, has clear thoughts on certain topics, and you can always tell he's extensively researched most of these. He knows what he's talking about, and he's prepared to talk about them. Whenever he's on, we know that Mike comes prepared, done his homework.
That we do. He is somebody who shows up and will tell us unequivocally exactly what he thinks about things. Mike's a leader with insight and vision. We've got a lot of guests on Squawk Box, but very few come as prepared as Mike and are able to talk through their thoughts on any level, on anything that we throw at him at the last minute. Mike takes an issue and can bring clarity to it. In fact, his recent discussion about the 2010 elections was very bold for a sitting CEO who has to defend himself to all of his shareholders. And that's what we look for here on Squawk Box, honest dialogue.
Then there's this role in the business community as well. If you look at the auto industry, it's Mike Jackson, it's Alan Mulally, and Ron Bloom who've all been instrumental in talking about the auto industry, speaking on behalf of the industry. It's pretty simple. When Mike talks about what's going on at his stores, we get a real clear look, not just at sales, but macroeconomic conditions. His role has actually become more than just talking about cars. It's hearing from him is now a bellwether for what the economy's doing.
That's right. He comes on and he talks about his monthly sales numbers, and that gives us a very good indication because he can tell us what's happening with auto sales. He's the largest auto sales company in the country.
In the universe.
In the universe, and it tells us a little bit about what's happening with the consumer. He's recently been talking about how pickup sales have been stronger than expected, and that's a very good indicator of what's happening with contractors and with home construction.
Yeah, and he can actually extrapolate it really to the macro economy. Many CEOs only see their own industries, but Mike is able to see beyond that. He was the first to put the housing collapse together with auto sales, and then later we saw obviously Wall Street collapse. No one thought credit was going to be the issue it turned out to be. So I would say that he sees the big picture. He can explain how it all works together in terms that laymen can understand.
Being a leader is one of the most difficult things to describe to most people. But ultimately, he's got almost 18,000, or slightly over 18,000 people in his organization. And you got to be able to paint a picture of what you want to be that is clearly and simply understandable by everybody. And I think he has demystified this whole process. He's turned it to, he's turned everything into some basic essential elements, and he's driving the organization in that direction. It's not that easy, right? You know, in order to get that simple in the way in which you formulate a view of the future, you need to understand it. You can only simplify after you've removed all the mysteries around the business, and he's done that successfully. The fact that he's absolutely straight and he's vocal and he's unwavering in his commitments, I think it's incredibly refreshing in an industry which is unfortunately historically been festered with over-promises and under-deliveries. To find somebody who is so fresh in approaching and tackling issues that it's really changed the tone of the conversation. I mean, we are now working on a completely different basis with him and with the other dealers. I think there is a recognition of the mutual commitment that dealers and manufacturers need to make to establish this industry as a vibrant industry. I think the dealer body needed somebody like him, and I think we were lucky to have found him. He's been a shot of fresh air into the whole rejuvenation process, and he's done a great job so far. He's young enough to screw it up, but I think he's done a good job so far.
Quite a morning so far, huh, Mike? I'd like to introduce now Keith Koenig, last year's award recipient. Keith Koenig is president and owner of City Furniture, one of Florida's most successful and fastest growing companies, and is an expert in the furniture retail industry. Good morning.
Hey, Tony.
How are you?
Great.
You want to read this, or you want to maybe just finish it? Okay. As you know, City Furniture first started as Waterbed City in 1994. I owned one of your waterbeds, by the way. What a great bed. Do you still sell waterbeds?
No, but they're coming back.
They're coming, okay. So you see, you can order a waterbed and then go buy some tickets for Howard in the stadium and you're set. Waterbed City first opened in 1971. Koenig is recognized in the community as a strong leader, manager, and supporter of economic development initiatives. He's also well known for his philanthropic contributions and his endeavors, including the Covenant House of Florida, Holy Cross Hospital, the Museum of Discovery and Science, Habitat for Humanity, the University of Florida's Warrington College of Business Administration, and the Archdiocese of Miami, Hospice of Palm Beach, and FAU's Adams Center for Entrepreneurship. Most recently, he opened his showcase City Furniture and Ashley store in Boca Raton. Waterbeds come back next year. Ladies and gentlemen, a dear friend, Keith Koenig.
Hey, good morning. What a great day, huh? Great day. Who came when we pulled up today? Was it nice outside? Pretty nice. How's it in New York? Thanks, Mike, for bringing Squawk Box to this. I see more of Mike on Squawk Box than I think I see President Obama. And I enjoyed seeing Joe and Becky and Carl up this morning because I kind of missed having enough of them this morning because we got out early. And it's an important part. How many people here watch Squawk Box regularly? A lot of people do. And if you don't, tune in. It's on CNBC. You'll see a lot of Mike, and he is fabulous on there. Mike has said you can get an MBA watching that show, and I think it's true. I think it's inspired Doreen so much. I think she's probably going to go get an MBA. It's a surprise to me, but we really enjoy it, and Mike is fabulous on there. And how about FAU? FAU is really doing some great things. In the last few years, we've gotten more and more connected with FAU. Our company is connected because my brother, Kevin, started Waterbed City in 1971. He graduated with an MBA, worked his way through the MBA program as a bellhop, saved a few $1,000s, and opened his first small waterbed store. And everything we built off of that was everything we built is started right there. So FAU is a part of our entire company. We got a lot of associates and colleagues that are graduates, and we're pretty proud of it. And Coach, what you're building over there is pretty remarkable. Really pretty cool. So, hey, I had a lot of good comments to be able to say about leadership and Mike Jackson, but you know what? It's pretty much been pretty well covered. I'm gonna be merciful, but just share 2 points. First of all, great leaders clearly accept any blame, but they tend to share all the credit for their team. And Mike is an example of that on a consistent basis. The senior team of 3 Mikes and a John, plus Mike Short, Mike Maroney, and John Ferrando, plus Mark Cannon and Gail Butler, who was a front person for all of us in South Florida, he shares that with his whole team. Every time I've talked about, wow, you guys are really doing great in a not a tough marketplace, not a difficult marketplace, an absolutely unbelievably difficult marketplace. You guys are continuing to make money. How are you doing? He always says it's a great team that we've got, the great people. We've got the best people in the whole business. So great leaders always share that blame, and Mike certainly does that. But the other one thing that I just want to finish up with is to share his vision of the future. It's very inspiring to me, and I hope it's very inspiring to you. And it's the same in our business. It's probably the same in your business or your organization. The marketplace of the last few years has been so challenging, it's forced us to all rethink our business model. It's forced the entire automotive industry to rethink the entire business model. Well, I'm happy to say we're coming out of it. I believe we're coming out of the recession. I don't think it's going to be super clear sailing. We're planning for a challenging year in 2011, but I think it's going to get better, and it's going to get better. And as the marketplace does recover, and it will, AutoNation is going to do really, really well. And that's an exciting prospect for our community. That's an exciting prospect for the company, and it's a tribute to the leadership of Mike Jackson. So please join me in welcoming FAU Business Leader of the Year of 2011, Mr. Mike Jackson.
Let's ask the President and Nancy and Dean Coates to come back for a photo shot, and then we'll have Mike do his acceptance speech.
Could the President, Mary Jane, and Dean Coates come up for a minute? We're going to take a real quick photo. Photo op.
Test, test.
All right, give it up for Mike Jackson.
Thank you, Keith. Not only is he an exceptional businessman, but he's one of the finest human beings on the planet Earth that I've ever met. Please pardon that I don't stand behind a podium. As you heard, I'm a street kid from Philadelphia. You put me behind a podium, and I can barely speak. So I got to move in order to be able to talk. I am honored and thrilled to receive this recognition today. MJ, we share a common nickname, if I could. Thank you so much. And Tony, that was so creative of you to make that comment about my name. You know, I've never heard that before. Yeah, I understand, Tony. That's fine. That's fine. I will observe that I had the name first and I have it last, so it worked out okay. And about that Ireland trip, that's the most impressive thing of all, that you were even conscious that this something like this occurred, because all I remember is an alcoholic fog from that trip. So, Dean and everyone, again, thank you for this honor. I'm proud to be the 20th winner. In looking at the list, I will observe that 6 of the winners are from automotive retail. I don't know whether everybody put that together, but we have Jim and Pat Moran, won different years, great retailers, great business leaders, and I think Colin is here today representing the J&M family who we do business with. So a round of applause for them, please. And imagine now we have one company with 4 executives that have been recognized, namely AutoNation. First and foremost, our founder, Wayne. And, you know, Wayne, there's only one founder to a company, and you will always be our founder. And his portrait sits in our boardroom, and whenever we don't know what to do, we gaze up at that portrait and say, what would Wayne do? And try to get some inspiration from it. But, you know, Wayne never changes. I had lunch with him the other day, and like a proud son, I said to Wayne, you know, Wayne, I don't know whether you realize it because you haven't said anything, but our stock is at a record all-time high. So he looks up from his soup and goes, so what took you so long? You won't get too high off the planet Earth hanging around with Wayne. Then, of course, my predecessor as CEO, Steve Berard, was recognized. And imagine, you talk about enduring partnerships. Wayne and Steve are still in business today with an exciting new prospect, creating value for shareholders and jobs for America. It's just an amazing entrepreneurial story that goes on and on. And, of course, my partner in running the enterprise, Mike Maroney, who's been with me every step of the way. And I can't begin to describe to you the depth of our relationship. And so I'll tell you a little story just to try to give you some idea. If I go back a few years ago, I was telling the domestics that their business model was basically bankrupt and there was going to be a horrible day of reckoning if they didn't change their ways. And I told them rather vigorously, privately, but was ignored. So then I started saying it on Squawk Boxes, started saying it publicly in low-key areas like Squawk Box. And so I was summoned to Detroit into the headquarters of one of the largest corporations in the world to be sat down across from their CEO, who, about 4 feet apart, with a purple rage, with eyeballs bulging out, proceeded to scream at me that I was creating him more headaches and difficulties than any other human being on the planet Earth. These are moments that sort of stick with you. And I'm very proud that I didn't flinch, and with a steady stare straight back, I said, you know, Rick, if you don't change your ways, I'm going to be the least of your problems. Now, the purpose of this story for my partnership with Mike Rooney, being summoned had been in the works for months. And at the store level, there was retaliation by this company against us and our people in every way imaginable. And in the near term, it was very difficult, disruptive for our business, and our people were under vicious criticism and attack because of my public statements. And Mr. Maroney led our operations through those periods and never once came to me and said, hey, Mike, you know, life is difficult enough. Do you really need to be on this crusade? He stood with me every step of the journey. And for that, I am forever grateful. The greatest partner I've ever had in business, Mike Rooney. So finally, Dean, you have a tremendous responsibility. It is your responsibility to educate, develop, mentor business leaders in America. And if I look at America, America's strength is in its economy. You know, it's not in our military might. You know, if you look at military might, well, the Soviet Union had tremendous military might, but the economy, or communism, was a bankrupt concept, and so it eventually all collapsed. So really, if you look at America, our position in the world all revolves around our economy. And you have to step back and say, how did 350 million people create a $15 trillion economy? Now, I know everybody talks about China, and Keith goes there every 3 days, but, you know, with everything that's happening in China, it's a $5 trillion economy, right? So we're 3 times the size of that economy. And if you want to know the answer, it's because of aspiration, innovation, and entrepreneurial spirit in a free enterprise world. That's what got America to where it is. And if you look at what America's been through over the last several years, in my view, at the end of the day, it's a failure of leadership in the business level. Yeah, you can talk about government and everything else, but decisions were made for the near term rather than the long term. Decision after decision after decision, and at a certain point, the entire house of cards collapsed. But one of the great strengths of America is it takes its medicine, it learns from them, and it goes back to its roots around aspiration, innovation, the American dream. And Dean, this room, everyone is in this room this morning to support you in creating the future leaders of America that will keep this country great. Thank you very much.
Wow. Mike, congratulations on being named the 2010 Business Leader of the Year. Your leadership style is so inspirational, and your accomplishments are so many. Thank you very, very much. With this award, you join the ranks of a distinguished roster of past recipients, including Mark Templeton, Ron Asaf, Alexander Dreyfus, Jim Moran, Wayne Huizinga, Keith Koenig, Carl DeSantis, Pat Moran, and former Governor Jeb Bush. On behalf of the FAU Board of Trustees and the College of Business, I want to thank everyone for attending this morning's event. And please join us when the College of Business will host the 2011 FAU Business Plan Competition on April 14th and 15th. We hope to see you there. Thank you again for coming, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.